Hey everybody, movie reviewer next door here, and I'm back with another Bond review for today, and the review is for Die Another Day. This film was from 2002, directed by Lee Tamahori, and it stars Pierce Brosnan, Halle Berry, Toby Stephens, Rosamund Pike, Rick Yune, and Judi Dench. In this film, Bond takes on a North Korean leader who undergoes DNA replacement procedures that allow him to assume different identities. American agent Jinx Johnson assists Bond in his attempt to thwart the villain's plans to exploit a satellite that is powered by solar energy. Now, what did I think of Die Another Day? Well, if Pierce Brosnan wasn't giving the performance he is here and there weren't a couple decent action scenes, this would easily be a 4. Again, I'm rating these as Bond films. If I was rating this on its own, it would probably be a bit lower. But because of those things still being in the movie, I think it's okay. I think that the film definitely it feels rushed in places, and it definitely feels like certain things are missing, and it does go on for a bit too long, but I think it's okay. I can still see why it would get a lot of hate, and I'll get to that. But the cast. Pierce Brosnan is James Bond. Again, Pierce Brosnan is still doing a good performance. I think he has a consistently good performance rate throughout all 4 of his films. He's still doing some interesting things in the action sequences. Halle Berry as Jinx Johnson. This could have been a cool character, and I love Halle Berry as an actress. I do. She's one of the few like A-list, another term I hate, actors that I actually think is really good, like really talented. Like, I was so happy to see her in John Wick Chapter 3, and it pissed me off a bit that she was only in it for like 20 minutes. So she doesn't really get much to do here. She's kind of just there to be she's kind of a comedy character at times. She can stick up for herself sometimes, but there's certain lines like "Who sent you? Yo mama." Like, really? I'm not gonna say the whole she talks like this just because she's black, but she has some really bad lines in this, and not even good bad in a good way, bad lines. Toby Stephens is Gustav Graves. He's one of the main issues of this film. Gustav Graves is a terrible villain. There's a technically twist with this. A twist that doesn't make much sense, but I'm not gonna reveal it because it's not really that important. It's more just, oh, he's the villain. Doesn't matter who he is. Toby Stephens, I'm not sure if I've seen him in other things. No, I haven't yet. I have another one of his movies, The Machine. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know. He's also in Space Cowboys, which I haven't seen in forever. But he's way too over the top. There are ways to do over the top well. I think the guy in Tomorrow Never Dies did over the top well, where it fit with the film. But his performance doesn't really fit with this film. Rosamund Pike is Miranda Frost. I love Rosamund Pike as an actress. This character's kind of nothing. This isn't a big twist at all, because you can see it coming from a mile away, and it doesn't affect the story. She turns out to be a double agent. From the beginning, she's already with Gustav Graves, and whatever. Just kind of a meh henchman, just kind of boring. Rick Yune as Zhao. I like Rick Yune as an actor. I liked him better in Olympus Has Fallen, though. He's only appeared in 13 films, apparently. But I do like him. Uh, but yeah, he's kind of wasted here. I'll be honest. And Judi Dench as M, she's fine as always. The opening title sequence, it's all right. The whole fire and ice thing, I understand what they're going with because the laser beam from space is the fire and the ice is at the end, the near the end, the ice palace thing. But the song "Die Another Day" by Madonna, it's not only not a great song to me, it doesn't fit. It does not fit with the rest of the Bond films. Even just the Brosnan films, like "Goldeneye" by Tina Turner is a good song that fits with the tone of the film. "Tomorrow Never Dies" by Sheryl Crow fits with the tone of the film. And "The World Is Not Enough" by Garbage fits with that film. So I don't know what the fuck happened here. But yeah, this film is a mess. It really is. The main issue is that it was the 20th James Bond film, and they were trying to be... it was also the 50-year anniversary of... No, 40-year anniversary of the series. And they were, I guess, trying to pay tribute? I guess? By having these little Easter eggs within the film that, for the most part, don't really add anything to the film. There are little bits of the music that I take from, like, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I'm sorry if I'm slurring my words a bit. I am hungry and a bit tired. But there's bits that they take from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, kind of like with Tomorrow Never Dies took a bit from the score of From Russia with Love, which I liked it there because it was subtle. Here it's mostly just, oh look, this is a thing from a Bond film. Ooh, this is a prop from a Bond film. Oh, this is a character from a Bond film. And it's like shoved in your face, and it's like, okay, I get it. It's the Bond series. The Bond series is awesome. Yes, I know. I love the Bond series. But yeah, my main issue is that the film forgets to have its own interesting plot. Because the whole plot about the space laser thing feels like it's about the same plot as a billion other spy movies that were trying to imitate Bond. And if anything, I'd say this film feels like a parody, and not a good parody. It feels like a parody where they're trying to do... It feels like someone else trying to do a Bond film does, but poorly. I don't really understand what happened with this. The writing is just so bad. It feels like this was written for a child. Like, again, I gave it a 6, whatever. I think the film is okay. I think that, yes, on a technical level, a strictly technical level, other than the pretty bad CGI, and I'll get to that, this film is still okay. It beats out other films with that. There's still issues, and I will get to issues with the Blu-ray set as a whole in a separate video. I will mention that, but maybe in the same video I do like a ranking, because I want to do a ranking of least best to best Bond films for me. But yeah, like on a purely technical level, like the practical stunts, practical action scenes, yeah, it's well done. But the plot is just so muddled and bad, and it just doesn't work. And again, this feels rushed, and it shouldn't, because it came out 3 years after the last one. Each of these last ones, it's been, GoldenEye 95, Tomorrow Never Dies 97, World's Not Enough 99, and this one 2002. Like, if anything, this should have extra polish, but there are many scenes where it feels actually quite cheap, and this is the most expensive of Pierce Brosnan's films. So I don't really understand where the money went to. other than the pretty bad CGI. And again, I know there's the thing to make of, is it dated CGI or bad CGI? I legitimately think it's bad CGI, because I've seen CGI from 2002 that looks so much better. And even the CGI in the opening title sequences looks better than this. Like, and they use it for the dumbest shit, too. Like, stuff that they could use a model for, or, you know, do for real. They have the stunt team. They had Vic Armstrong at the helm of the action scenes. Like, why not? But yeah, like, again, the villain's whole plan is just dumb. It doesn't... It again feels like a parody of a Bond film. There's... The film also has an issue with tone. At the beginning, there's the whole... Again, at the beginning, one of the best action sequences of the film. There are 3 that I liked of this entire film. Well, shit, maybe there's only 2. Well, for sure, the opening with the like hovercraft chases. The hovercraft chase is awesome. I love it. And the sword fight between Bond and Gustav Graves. I liked both of those. Rest of the action looks like shit. And if I can think of the other action scene, I'll say it, but I can't remember it right now. This film is very forgettable. But yeah, at the beginning, they try to go for this darker tone with Bond being, like, tortured and all this stuff. And then it's like, oh, how many months later? It was like 17 months later or some shit. It was some ridiculous amount. And I'm just like, okay, you've destroyed my suspension of disbelief. And then there's no repercussions from it at all. Like, there's no, like, oh, Bond has issues breathing. He, you know, crumbles at any part of the fight. Like he gets, like, hit, and then he feels, like, even more pain. Like, his body's weakened. None of that. As soon as he gets back to MI6, he's perfectly fine. Like, why even have that torture aspect in there? And after that, it's like, oh, M doesn't trust him. And then, next scene, he shows up in a hotel, and he's perfectly fine. He gets shaved and all that. And it's, like, meant for a comedy moment. I'm sorry, if you're gonna do the whole tortured Bond thing, you need to commit to it. You can have those bits of humor later in the film. But right after a scene where Bond has been, like, tortured, abused, and all that by these people in North Korea, I really don't understand who thought this was a good idea. Maybe they should have just not done it at all. Also, having the Madonna song play over a lot of the torture scene stuff really doesn't work, because it's like an upbeat poppy song, and it's really annoying. I know some people have grown to like it. I haven't. I think it's a bit catchy in certain parts, but there are certain parts where Madonna's voice just wears on me, and I'm not the biggest fan of her 2000s and later stuff. Like Hung Up, I hate that song. And Music, I don't like her 2000s and forward stuff. Bitch, I'm Madonna. But yeah, this film, God, it's such a mess. It really is. It's trying to be cool. It feels like that this was around the same time that Triple X came out, and also Jason Bourne, or The Bourne Identity. Which Triple X was like, oh, outlandish, like extreme sports stuff, and then Bourne Identity was trying to be more down to earth, I guess, even, and people say that it's like grittier, down to earth, and then I have to show them again, I have to remind them, do you remember the scene where he goes down the middle of the stairway and shoots someone on the way down? Do you remember that? Do you remember how stupid that was? But yeah, it just the fucking other than that, it feels like the Bond producers were trying to mimic those. They were trying to not bring it more down to earth, but be more like Triple X. They were like, ooh, let's be cool. And it doesn't work. The last three were cool enough. What is the issue here? I don't understand why these choices were made. I don't understand who thought it was a good idea to make these choices. This movie's just a fucking mess. It really is. That's the best way I can describe this film. It's a mess. So, I'll get to the pros and cons. Pierce Brosnan, again, he does a good job as James Bond. I don't really have any issues there. Again, Judi Dench as M, no real issues there either. The score is decent for the most part. It's still David Arnold. The couple action scenes I mentioned that were practical for the most part, the hoverboat chase and the sword fight, were well done. I do think they were well done. Lots of explosions, gunfire, had fun with them. There was like one bit of the like reincorporation that I thought was interesting, or not reincorporation, the like, oh look, we're the 20th Bond film anniversary moment. There's a bit where you hear the like from the beginning of Doctor No, at the beginning of the credits, the weird like alien sounds is the sounds on what was it? Oh yeah, as Bond is escaping the ship at the after the torture scene and all that. I liked that. I thought that was interesting. That being like the sound of the, alert, someone's escaping. I liked that. Cons, again, Halle Berry's given nothing to do with this character, and she's kind of just shafted for really terrible writing. Toby Stephens is a poor villain. Rosamund Pike is wasted. Rick Yoon, again, should have been given a bit more to do other than being just, oh, he's the North Korean with the diamonds in his face. The CGI, again, looks really, really poor. Even for the time. It seems Lee Tamahori has a bit of a history with bad CGI, because given his other films that I've seen, Along Came a Spider had that awful opening scene that, like, all the tension that you had in that one scene of the girl holding the guy up was destroyed by the car crash being fully CGI, and it looks like shit. Next, with Nicolas Cage, while I do like that film still, the ending where the ship turns over and all that from the explosion looks really bad. There are some really terrible moments in that film of CGI. It didn't take me away from it because I liked Nicolas Cage and Julianne Moore, but still, it did look poor. But yeah, it seems that he just has a stigma for having bad CGI. Triple X State of the Union as well had some pretty bad CGI. But yeah, again, most of the action scenes that are full of CGI don't really hit, at all. There are bits of editing. The editing is a bit of a down for me, where it cuts way too much during certain action scenes, so you don't really get the impact. Oh yeah, another action scene that I didn't mind, the VR training sequence. I didn't mind that, because if I didn't know about it beforehand, I would have actually been like, holy shit. And you'll see what I mean if you haven't seen the movie. The film looked like drained of color at parts, which I was a bit, miffed about. I was like, Bond films are usually pretty colorful. But yeah, it's not great. It's not bad, or it's not terrible. It's not. It's the worst Bond film so far for me. Um, but still, I mean, I have yet to get to the Craig era, so we'll see what I think about those. But that's the end of my review. If you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, and movie review next door out.